the Winston-Salem, Greensboro area.
I went to school in Durham.
Did you?
Yeah, you can guess what school, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're probably the wrong color blue to you. No, I went to. Yeah, dude, I was gonna say. Wrong color blue.
He's a blue devil.
Do you know that I get a hard time everywhere I go? Every time I say that, because people say something about like the rape thing or everything else or basketball. And I'm like, like I was telling Lou, like once somebody brings in something that isn't relevant to an argument, you just have to let it go. Because people don't understand what the rivalry means. They just think that it's different blues, right?
That's right.
Or red, like Lou.
Or is it NC State rival?
No, Duke and Carolina are the. NC State is the third wheel that wants to be, because it's a triangle, right?
Yeah.
And so NC State is in Raleigh, and Duke and North Carolina have this traditional rivalry. It's history. It is blood. That's blood, right? It's literally like there's blood in those streets too.
Yeah.
Probably from, I mean, there was probably a lot of fighting in the history, right? Literally blood, like blood. I was saying there's blood all over the place in the soil, but it is in your blood when you're down there in North Carolina. Like it is one or the other. You have to pick a side.
Yeah,
And if you're red, that is your way of being an other, right?
And you can also cop out and say Wake Forest.
Or yeah.
Yeah, but they're out the West Forest.
What do they say? I always forget.
Wake Forest is over my neck of the woods, right?
Yeah.
So they're over there in Winston-Salem. It used to be over there. Wake
Yes.
Forest is over there. Right. But they moved the university.
It's so funny when they keep a name like that, like.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like, what's in a name, right?
What do you mean you moved what university?
It used to be
Wake
in,
Forest
yeah.
University. Right. It used to be over by all the. Oh,
Yeah,
it is?
there's an area of North Carolina called, right, yes.
Oh, years and
So long ago that it's become disconnected from the name, right?
My
So,
buddy lives in Wake Forest. And I was like, oh, you live by, he like nowhere close to this. And I realized like it was like 2 years later, I realized he didn't actually live near the school. I was like, wait a minute, what?
it's so funny. There's something else like that too.
Yeah.
There's something else like that. I can never picture it or place it. But it's kind of like Miami-Dade, how it's like, it's all about nomenclature and naming, like what do you call it? Because we've become disconnected from our language and words. Like you probably come up here and think we talk funny. Everybody comes down there. But when I went to school at Duke, I met people from other countries and like that weren't here, like they did not stay here, right? They came here to go to college and go back. And so when I come back to small towns like around here, small, not small towns, but like small. I'm from York. It's about an hour north, but
Considered a small town.
yeah, but it's small. And I say small and like small-minded because it's conservative. It's like backwards thinking in the whole community, in the whole state. This, do you know what it is? It's the Mason-Dixon line. We've thought of the Mason-Dixon line as north-south, but Pennsylvania is both, right? Because you know there were like once you got over the line, you weren't free, right? Think about it. You're not in safe haven in York, in my town. Like I'm right over the Mason-Dixon. The bottom of my county is flat because Pennsylvania is. Think about like.
He's born and raised in PA.
Really, where at?
Northwestern part of Pennsylvania.
What part? Erie?
Well, a little town called Franklin, Oil City.
Oh.
Oil.
My wife's grandmother's from Greenville or
Yeah.
Spartanburg,
Yeah.
and so she says, I used to make fun of her all. She just passed away on the 1st, but.
Yeah. We got married. Now both my boys were born down in North Carolina.
You see, you talk normal, but I'm not saying you don't.
We got made fun of from our cousins if we used any of the really southern
Oh.
words. Yeah, whenever we
Give 'em
say,
oil change?
Any y'alls, any that kind of thing, we got made fun of.
What's really funny is Pittsburgh says yins, right?
Yeah.
And nobody knows.
Says it drives me
Yin's
crazy.
coming over. And then we got down south, they said, Yins, what's Yins?
Right? And it's y'all. It's the same. How do you not understand that yins is the same thing, right? You just have to understand it comes from Pittsburgh.
What I was y'all here, but what you don't hear up here is all y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Because that means different than y'all, right? That's what you have to think about is words mean words, but everybody says garbage. They pick up because it sounds good to their ear, right?
Sure.
And that's what happens with words, and that's what happens.
It's kind of like, too, you know, I worked for a Canadian company one time, and everything, A? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You gotta come over, A?
Who cares? Get used to it because it's cool.
Minnesota.
It is,
I moved
exactly.
to Minnesota, and even they're just bags and stuff like that. And you're like,
Or trolleys. People call shopping carts trolleys or wagons and stuff. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'll get a cart, right? She's like, did you get a wagon? I'm like, I'm not pulling it, I'm pushing it, right?
That's right. And people down south, they'll say, yeah, you want a tomato sandwich, you want a mater sandwich.
Yeah. Well, because tomato is too many syllables, right? And that's what you have to think about. Regional dialects, southern It's not their fault. It's just a personality of like easygoing and nice, and it is perpetuating, right? It's culture, because it's culture, right? It's Southern culture, but it changes the language and the way you speak, and I think we need to recognize that across the country. I'm literally, if you guys will record it, I'm gonna have people record the preamble, and I don't need your data, but what I'm gonna do is prove that our voices are data, and we can make money on it, and we're letting people make money on our lives that aren't our employers, right? Because we go to work every day slaving for insurance or whatever, and we forget that life is more than insurance. And I make $26 an hour to work in a warehouse, a grocery warehouse. I am the reason that there's no shit on the grocery shelves, because I see it, right? You know in your work why things are happening, right? Because nobody shows up. Everybody shows up late. It's a pervasive.
Our door manufacturing facility